And now, live from the Steel Twins recording studio in beautiful Traverse City, Michigan, and from Casa del Freytown in Taylor, Michigan, the Outside Blitz is proud to present the fabulous Scotty Freytown, the Bootleg Bettor, who better to be, and the Cannonball, Alex Steele.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Outside Blitz. I am your host, the fabulous one, Scotty Freytown. Joining me to my left, the one, the only, who better to be than a Bootleg Bettor? Boots, welcome back. We missed you.
Yeah, down, said hit. Let's get back to business.
Yeah, super excited to have you back in.
Yes, sir.
Well, welcome back. And the Cannonball, Alex Steele, joining us from Traverse City, Michigan. Man, welcome back to the party. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. We got news around the league. We got NFC teams to jump into as far as the draft goes. The draft is come and gone. We got to jump into NFC draft grades, so we're going to jump into some of those. We got some free agency stuff going on. We got releases going on. Boots, we got some stuff specifically for you. Specifically
On the West Coast here?
No, not on the West Coast.
What up?
But specifically, we got to talk about. We got to have a conversation about Anthony Richardson. We really do. Specifically,
Anthony Richardson,
a
bad sign,
man,
born under a bad sign.
We got to talk about Anthony Richardson. So
I've been down since I began to crawl.
Oh boy. Well,
if it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all.
Anthony Richardson, and he and the Colts. So the Colts decided to not pick up his fifth-year option. We talked about that last week. What's your take? I mean, was it smart by the Colts at this stage?
At this point, yes, because they're in a competitive division, big-time competitive division, and they're going to lag behind, and they don't have the time or the patience, apparently, to try to coddle Anthony Richardson along. And the experiment has failed in Indy. It could work somewhere else. We don't know. But right now, right here, it failed.
Do you think he would be a good fit in Philly? I feel like that's like the spot. Like a backup for Jalen Hurts?
I don't know. I haven't seen enough.
Because Because I feel like that's like the spot to go right now if you want a quarterback that's so similar. And like a guy that you can develop behind Jalen Hurts, maybe Baltimore. I could possibly see that being a thing. Like similar quarterbacks running. I mean, had throwing issues, but you can kind of develop it a little bit. And I mean, wouldn't those be like kind of the spots you would want him to go? I mean, he obviously didn't work out in Steichen's system. They're obviously leaning into Daniel Jones. But and the Colts have come and said they don't even know who's going to be their backup quarterback. Richardson has showed up to the offseason voluntary workout program. He showed up on Monday. The team has said that they're open to finding a trade for him right now, and they're mutually agreeing to seek out a trade. But I'm just a landing spot for him is kind of the hard thing, and I feel like. If you're going to find a landing spot for him, shouldn't it be somewhere where it's a similar situation? I just feel like that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, Eagles make a lot of sense to me. Baltimore makes a lot of sense to me. Maybe Buffalo. Buffalo might make a lot of sense. You're running quarterback. Might make sense.
And the problem that I'm having with all of this is the injury stuff. I mean, what do we preach here on the Outside Blitz each and every week? Availability and reliability. And, him saying I'm tired, dog, did not do him any favors.
Yeah.
But hopefully he's learned from that lesson at least. So, I mean, the options are open for him as a backup. I do agree with that. But is anybody really going to take a chance on that? I mean, what about Cincinnati?
Yeah, maybe. Boots, are you too tired?
What are you talking about?
Are you too tired, dog?
Oh. It's horrible. That turned his entire NFL career projection completely around.
It's changed everything. The Colts also making other moves. Just a few weeks after adding him, the Colts have cut safety Nasser Adderley. He came and went
out of retirement.
Yep. Came out of retirement and went very quickly. He's gone. But the other interesting move by the Colts, and one that kind of caught my eye, they released corner Kenny Moore. The team attempted to find a trade for him after he requests one. No trade materialized.
They didn't try very hard.
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, he's one of the best slot corners in football.
Yeah, they didn't try very hard. If no one was looking for a corner, then they didn't do their due diligence.
Yeah, I mean, with him being a free agent, there are so many spots where he can land. Hey, Vikings. Hey, Lions. Hey,
hey, Brad.
Hey, this guy is one of the best slot corners out there. He plays good ball. He's a really good player, and he's been a really good player for a long time. Yeah. I'm surprised that a trade didn't materialize, but
how old is he? 28?
I think he's 29 years old. I mean, he's been in the league for a minute, and he's always been a stalwart for the Colts. I'm a little surprised that a trade didn't materialize, and frankly, I'm surprised that the Colts were wanting to move on from him. I'm surprised that Kenny Moore was wanting to move on from the Colts. I'm surprised you just wouldn't pay the man.
Yeah,
it's like, goodness gracious, I do anything to keep a guy like that in the door. It seems silly to me, but Kenny Moore now is a free agent.
Because with Ahmad Gardner there, you would have had Kenny Moore the second, and who's the other corner?
Oh gosh, that would.
Well, anyway, you still have two top corners at their respective position.
Yeah, it's just that's crazy to me. I just find that to be baffling that they let him go out the door. Other news, the Vikings making moves. They go out and sign wide receiver Juwan Jennings to a 1-year, $8 million deal. It goes up to $13 million with incentives. He'll likely be the wide receiver 3 over there behind Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Boots, what do you make of this move?
There's your replacement for Jalen Naylor right there.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of an upgrade, to be honest with you. I really like this move.
Yeah, it's a very good move.
Yeah, I think that's a rock solid signing, especially for that price point at $8 million.
For Juwan Jennings always was Brock Purdy's favorite target. His favorite target. So
yeah, I like Juwan Jennings. Big body guy, great in the red zone, great hands.
Yeah,
I like him a lot. I'm a big fan of this signing for the price. I think it's really good. I mean, you're talking $8 million and then 13 with incentives. I mean, that's cheap. That's for Juwan Jennings, that is cheap.
1-year deal, bet on yourself type thing.
Yeah. I mean, and for the Vikings, it's, low risk, high reward situation. You get a solid wide receiver 3 in the door. You get a solid target for Kyler Murray, who's probably going to be your quarterback this year. I think that's an excellent move.
Yeah.
Also, the speaking of the Vikings, they've got their general manager search going. And that has been,
who wants to be a general manager?
That's requested interviews with 49ers assistant general manager RJ Gillen, the Rams assistant GM John McKay, Titans assistant GM Dave Ziegler, Chargers assistant general manager Chad Alexander, Seahawks assistant GM Nolan Teasley, and Bills assistant GM Terrence Gray. Those are the guys that they have requested so far for interviews. Man, I got to tell you, the guy I like the most right now out of this group, John McKay out of the Rams. Just knowing what we know about those Rams draft classes, seeing what we've seen out of those classes, those 5th round picks. Boots, you've talked about those picks, those Puka Nakuas and Kyren Williams, those guys that have come out of the 5th and 6th round, those like big time picks. Those are that's why that one just kind of stands out to me. That John McKay out with the Rams, I think he'd be a great general manager.
Right. I don't know anything about any of them, but if you look at the situation that the Rams have been in, they've been able to build through the draft in the later rounds, which the whole F them picks where that came from. I don't see why he wouldn't be one of the top candidates. It's almost like the coaching tree.
Yeah.
In a similar type of way.
Yeah, you're gonna find guys, based out of the Shanahan tree, and so on and so forth.
And you think, they'll be able to do the exact same thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of saw it out of George Payton when he, and speaking of George Payton, I mean, you saw him get an extension this week with the Denver Broncos. George Payton, he gets a 5-year deal with the Denver Broncos. They extend him through 2030. Look, I'm down with this signing. He had some rough years early on. Obviously, we can detail the Russell Wilson signing because that was his swing and a whiff. But ultimately, he planted
the bed outside.
Yeah, he planted and reset. Alex, I mean, you know how big I was on Bo Nix. George Payton. I mean, you'd be re-signing him to this deal at this point, right?
Yep, absolutely. It just makes sense. After the miserable failed experiment that was Russell Wilson in Denver, Bo Nix, the guy, actually stepped up to the plate, and here we are now. To get this guy, on this deal, especially. Given the fact that he had such success last year, it's only going to continue to grow.
It kind of makes me. So George Payton, he was the assistant general manager to Rick Spielman in Minnesota, and one thing that Rick Spielman was very, very big on is building your team through the draft. That was one of Rick Spielman's biggest philosophies. And you looked at the way he built teams through the Zimmer era. It was Harrison Smith and all these different guys. Harrison Smith was the big stalwart, obviously, but all these guys that he brought in through the draft to create all these different teams. Dalvin Cook is another one. You get Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen. You went and built through the draft, and that was Daniil Hunter was another guy that he went and got. He built through the draft. He built those teams for Mike Zimmer, and that's what Rick Spielman did. George Payton was his assistant GM at the time. I feel like since then, and after the failed Russ Wilson experiment, George Payton kind of said, you know what? I need to embrace building my team through the draft the way that Rick Spielman did. I feel like, and if you look at what he did this past year in Denver, he really went all in on the draft these last 2 seasons and built his team through the draft. And the Denver Broncos really look like a strong team ready for the long haul. He's filled in a few free agents here and there, sprinkled in a couple, but most of these guys are his draftees, guys that he picked up. And I think he did a really good job with that.
Yep. It just goes to show that, that we saw what that squad did in the AFC title game against the eventual winners, the New England Patriots, in a blizzard. In Mile High, they held that Patriots team to 10 points. And unfortunately, they just didn't score enough to catch up to them. But you see the talent that George Payton has put together, using his time in Minnesota to learn and understand, what successful football teams do, so, as I said before, the fruits of his success are evident.
Yep. And also let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers boots, Aaron Rodgers.
Here we go.
I feel like this is a topic we've covered ad nauseum every season, every off season for 4 years now. I feel like we've sat on this show covering this topic repeatedly. I feel like it's Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
It's obnoxious. Aaron Rodgers likely will be playing for the Steelers in 2026.
Yep.
He'll be in Pittsburgh this weekend.
Yep.
And he will, after they place that unrestricted free agent tender on him, which means he'll get a 10% increase in his pay. He'll get $15 million next year instead of the $10 million he got last year. And teams will have an opportunity to match it, or to beat it. And then Pittsburgh will have an opportunity to match, but it doesn't look like anybody is going to try and beat it. So therefore, he will likely be a Pittsburgh Steeler this year. And therefore, Aaron Rodgers will likely be returning to the league in 2026 as the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2026. What's your thoughts?
This is perfect. Perfect.
Do you love it?
It's perfect for the Steelers. It's perfect for Mike McCarthy. It's perfect for their offense. It's perfect. It's the reason why the Steelers are going to win the division.
You love it.
It's perfect. That's it.
You hated it last year.
No. I hated it 2 years ago when he was with the Jets first year. I hated it 3 years ago when he was with the first year, 2 years ago in the second year. Mm-hmm. I loved it last year. I told you that Pittsburgh Steelers would win the division.
You did.
And they did. I loved it.
Fair.
I loved it. I said
it. I'm not coming on you. I don't disagree. You do have to realize that the final moments of that Steelers division win depended on the right foot of the Ravens kicker and wide right. But they put together a whole lot of pieces to get there.
Did they win the game?
That's it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yep. The Steelers, it's an interesting little dynamic. I feel like we're always talking about Aaron Rodgers.
It's eerily similar to the end of the career of Brett Favre.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to get to a point here where it's not going to feel right when we're not having an off season talking about Aaron Rodgers, whether or not he's going to return to the league. Like it's not, I feel like we're getting to that point where it's just like, we're going to get to it. Like Aaron Rodgers officially going to retire. And then we're going to be like, oh, we're not on Rodgers watch for the first time in like half a decade.
No, this is the last ride.
I would hope so. I would think so.
This is the last ride.
Goodness gracious. Golly. I mean,
here's the question I have. Everybody remembers Favre's last season with the Vikings, where he got absolutely mollywopped. You know, I remember that they were playing in the Minnesota University Stadium, the Golden Gopher Stadium, because they were renovating and building a US Bank Stadium, and they were had to take down the Metrodome. But I remember that game. There was a game. I don't remember who they were playing. I just remember Brett Favre was down on the ground and he was covered in rain, and he just looked like he looked like hammered shit. I apologize, but is this the same trajectory that we're looking to see Aaron Rodgers follow? Or is that right off into the sunset, golden? Maybe he's holding a ring. Maybe he's holding another division title.
I think there's like a likelihood that there's a division title coming. I do think that. I think Jesse Minter might have something to say about that, but he's going to be retooling that team. But I do think the Steelers are likely going to win that division.
They will.
Yeah.
It's going to be. Ain't no likely. They shipped him out.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
They're going to win the division. Yeah.
It's just an interesting situation in Pittsburgh. And
if not, it'll be Cincinnati.
You think so?
Yes.
Wow. Look at you.
Yeah, if it's not Pittsburgh, it'll be Cincy.
Well, one thing the Steelers don't have to worry about is DK Metcalf. He will not face charges in an in-game altercation with the Lions fan in Detroit that he had that slapping altercation with, where the fan was allegedly yelling racial slurs at him, and he turned around and slapped him when he was in Detroit and whatever else. And,
that's what you do in Detroit.
All that craziness. Well, DK Metcalf will not face charges for that. The attorney general has said, I look, first of all, I'm going to say I'm glad he's not going to face charges, because I don't know if anybody has seen, like, did you guys ever watch that post interview with that guy, that Lions fan that he allegedly got slapped?
No.
Okay. That guy is,
I wouldn't give it the time of day.
That guy is the most cringeworthy, just straight up. I'll call him what he is. He's an asshole. That guy is a complete douche, in my opinion. Like, you want to talk a prick? That's that dude. Like, what a jerk. And he sits there. He's like, oh, he was mad that I called him by his government name to Kalen. And then he continued to sit there the whole interview calling him to Kalen. Like, it's like, bro, like, what? Shut up. Like at this point, you're just a troll and nobody likes you. Like, there was nothing endearing about this man.
Well, there's 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. So he won't face charges, DK Metcalf. There will probably be a settlement on the way, at some point, a financial settlement, but the Steelers won't have to worry about anything like that.
15 minutes of shame.
Yeah, that's about it.
There you go.
That's kind of what the guy gets. Also, another thing that a team won't have to worry about, the Patriots, they won't have to worry about wide receiver.
They got a lot to worry about.
Well, they've got stuff going on with Vrabel, but they don't have stuff going on with Stephon Diggs. Diggs has been found not guilty of assaulting his now ex-private chef. That whole situation I watched some of that court case and tuned into some of that court case. Wow. Wow. Oh, that's all I'll say. He's found not guilty, though, in that case. So Stephon Diggs off the hook there. That was just an interesting little tidbit. And then the Packers. We talked about Aaron Rodgers a little bit. Let's talk about one of his former teams. The Packers making some moves. They go out and release quarterback Desmond Ridder. So he goes out the door.
Seems about right.
Bye.
Yep.
Bye, Felicia.
And Boots, they replace him with somebody I know you like quite well. Quarterback Tyrod Taylor comes in through the door.
Yeah.
Nice little backup quarterback there. I think that's a nice signing, don't you?
This is what you get when you have a definite plan of attack when you talk about the coaching staff. With Jordan Love missing a ton of games last season and the season before that. So combined, he's missed some games. Malik Willis was able to step in. I've been talking about Malik Willis for years now. He was able to step in and did a fantastic job when Jordan Love was on the sidelines. Now you don't have that because he went and got the bag in Miami.
Yeah.
But what you do have now with Tyrod Taylor is a veteran who knows the NFL, who can step in, and he can not only play 3-4 games, which you would probably figure a so-called backup would be. He can give you 8, 9, 10 games.
Absolutely.
And so I think Green Bay made a fantastic pickup.
Yeah, I think he's very similar to Malik Willis in a lot of ways, and just a more veteran version of Malik Willis.
Still smart.
Yep.
Still can run effectively, not to, pick up 60, 70, 80 yards, nothing like that, but to pick up 10, 15 cheap yards on a busted play. He still's got that. Yeah,
I agree. I like this signing a lot. I thought it was very smart. Great signing by them. They also have some stuff going on with at the kicker position here. They go out and release kicker Brandon McManus. He gets released today.
Took him that long, huh?
Yeah, took him that long.
He should have been on the plane the night after they lost to the Bears. There's no way you're missing extra points, field goals. No way in the world you would have been on the plane heading home. Yes, would have been in an Uber.
Yeah, well, once upon a time, McManus, one of the better kickers in the NFL when he played for Denver and whatever the case. I mean,
he was good the season prior.
Yeah,
right. For Green Bay, because he had replaced Anders Carlson and whoever else that they trotted out there. But Brandon McManus did a very good job the season prior. Now, last season, he was okay, but when it came time in the critical moments, it's in a playoff game, you're missing extra points and field goals, get out.
Yeah, I agree. It was a lot going on there with McManus last season. he played really well when he was in Denver. I know he's been around a few different places in the league. He's been shipped around, but a little surprised by his steep fall off. But at certain points, kickers, we call it getting the yips, and that's what he got. He got the yips. And Alex, I forget the name of the kicker, but they signed a kicker, did they not? Or they drafted one, if I'm not mistaken, in this year's draft.
They drafted one.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the draft board here. They got Trey Smack, place kicker out of Florida.
Yeah, my understanding about this kid Trey Smack is there was a moment where he was blasting just monster kicks in the offseason workouts, just blasting like 70 yarders. From my understanding, is the word out there. So we're going to see just
his
how
last name is Smack. He ought to be smacking the football.
Yeah, the write-up on him. They say Smack served as the primary kicker for Florida for 3 seasons, finishing with the 82.8% career field goal or accuracy. He set adequate height on his kicks, having only one blocked. Accuracy, leg strength, he made 10 of 13 from 50+. Career long of 56 in 2025. He also handled kickoff duties in college. Just over 75% of his kicks resulted in touchbacks last season. Hell of a kicker. So they're going to roll with Trey Smack, it sounds like, the guy who they drafted in the 7th round. So, hey, rock and roll for the Packers, though, but gets a little interesting there.
Actually, that was the 6th round with pick number 35, but it's about the 7th round anyway, so it's not much of a stretch.
Yeah, you're right. That is the 6th round, but yeah, they're going to roll with Trey Smack. Also for the Packers, they get a word from GM Brian Gutekunst. He says that he expects tight end Tucker Kraft.
What?
Exactly. He expects tight end Tucker Kraft and linebacker Micah Parsons, both of which suffered torn ACLs last year, to be back early in the 2026 season. Boots, do you expect them to be back early in the 2026 season after suffering what I would say was late torn ACL tears?
Yeah, definitely late. It just depends on how their body responds to the treatment and whatever healing process that they've got going on with themselves. I don't know. I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I'm not their personal physician.
I think
got the number, but I lost it.
I think that's wishful thinking. I mean,
yeah,
could be.
I mean, didn't Parsons go out in like week 13?
Yeah, it could be one of those deals where he's trying to scope the market, see what people are thinking, and see if there's possible trade bait going on. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. That's just, it's crazy to me to think that could be out there.
Yeah, I guess what's your definition of early? That's what if I was a reporter asking Brian Gutekunst about how early are you talking about? Are you talking like week 5? Are you talking post trade deadline? Because I mean, realistically, it takes 6 months to go from you tore your ACL to you go get your surgery, you get rehabbed from it. On a good day, in a good situation, it's about 6 months. Would you say that's accurate?
I think is kind of wishful thinking. I mean, it really depends on how bad the tear is. We've seen ACL tears last a year. Go as far as 8 months. I mean, when it's that late in the season, though, I mean, normally that's like, hey, we're done for the year, right? I mean, we're done for the whole next year. We saw it with, you want to talk a really bad one? We saw it with Tank Dell, right? We saw that horrific tear, just mangled leg situation. I mean, it happens where sometimes it's worse than others. But I mean, for them to like Parsons, his happened so late in the season. I don't know how you can say early in the season, because to me, early in the season means like week 4 or earlier, right? So yep. I'm like, yeah. I don't know how you can say Micah Parsons is going to be there week 4 or earlier at that point. I think that's crazy talk.
Right.
So
yeah, I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah. Moving elsewhere, the Jets, they got some stuff going on. So this is an interesting situation. The Jets made a free agent offer to quarterback Russell Wilson. And it's an offer which he is reportedly weighing, but he's also debating the potential of joining a television broadcast team. I think it's a little weird, to be honest with you, that you got an offer to play professional football as a professional football player. And then after you got your offer to play professional football and you're the most awkward freaking guy in the world, and you would rather go out on and consider going out on live television as arguably the most awkward guy in the world and be the most awkward freaking guy in the world than play for the New York Jets. Like, I think that says a lot about the Jets as an organization. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Russell Wilson.
Do you need any further proof, ladies and gentlemen, and Blitz babies, that the New York Football Jets are in fact a government cheese organization? Than this news right here.
I mean, does that not say a lot about the New York Jets as an organization right there? Like I would rather go be weird on television because I'm just a weird dude, because he is. Russ Wilson is cringeworthy weird.
Says a lot about the quarterback situation.
I got an idea. License to print money, put him on with Robert Griffin III.
Gosh.
Have them call college games together.
I mean,
do the 3-man team. Do the play-by-play guy,
right.
And then on color you got Russ Wilson and RG3. Come on, tell me that don't make money.
Oh God, it would be crazy. Or the only way it gets worse is if you put Jameis Winston out there doing something crazy.
It looks like the Jets don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Yeah, it looks like to me like the Jets don't have a QB, and I think that's what it is.
And I have my affinity for the play of Brady Cook, but if he can't win the job, then what can you do? And I don't know why they just let Tyrod Taylor go. Speaking of, they could have kept him, but they've got a quarterback issue.
Yeah, there is a quarterback problem there. I don't know what it is. It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, you don't believe in Geno Smith, clearly, with the Jets. I mean, and they said, well, Geno Smith is our guy, but then you're over here offering Russ Wilson, which makes me, that says a lot. You didn't really do anything to address your quarterback situation in the draft, right? I mean, you got Klubnik there, right? You drafted Cade Klubnik, but is he going to be your guy? Do you think Cade Klubnik is going to be the dude that steps into the limelight for the New York Jets?
Maybe after week 8.
I mean, do you think this is going to be is Klubnik going to be the next Baker Mayfield that comes trotting onto the field when the Jets are stinking up the joint and turns them around? And I mean, is he going to be it? I mean, that's going to be the question. There's a lot there.
Yeah, it's a lot to choose. I don't know. With the Jets, they're still a little bit away.
Yeah, they're still trying to figure it all out. But one place they aren't a little bit away. Some big news that just happened just in the last hour. They go out and extend running back Breece Hall to a 3-year, $45.75 million deal, $15.25 per year. And they get that man paid. So Breece Hall, keep cashing them checks. This is a great signing. I'm okay with this signing. I feel a little bad for Breece Hall that he's still signing with the Jets, but Breece Hall.
Yeah, that's a good thing for the Jets.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, good for the Jets. Yeah, good for the Jets. Not good for Breece.
They need all the help they can get. I mean,
it's not. I like Braylon Allen. I would like to see more Braylon Allen, but I'm okay with this signing. I think Breece Hall's a good running back. I think he's a top running back in this league. This is this is in the same realm as James Cook money, is it not? I think he's making about $16 million a year, if I'm not mistaken. James Cook.
I'm not sure. I haven't talked to his financial advisor lately. I'm not quite sure.
They're very open about these contracts. If I recall, his was 16, but he's very much in the realm of James Cook. So I mean, hey, rock and roll.
I don't know why they have to let people know how much money these guys are getting. Why is it public?
I don't know.
I'd be mad as hell. I had a family known for bleeding money dry, found out I got a $30 million contract.
To play football.
Phone wouldn't stop ringing.
Football.
You know me out. You know my gas bill late by 3 weeks.
I need a hand, man. Need a hand. Next up, another team getting stuff done. The Seahawks, they go out and sign defensive end Dante Fowler to a 1-year deal up to $5 million per year. We talked about Dante Fowler visiting with them a couple weeks ago. They get the deal done. They get themselves a defensive end. He's kind of going to be coming in for Boye Mafe leaving. Is he a 1-for-1, or is this just kind of a mercenary fill in?
It's a mercenary deal. Yeah, all the way.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to be able to do the same level of work that Boye Mafe did, or do you think that this is just get us through and
possibly the defense is going to take a step back anyway?
Yeah, I think so too. I agree. Especially with you lost Reek Woolen as well on that defense. Couple of young guys. I think they came out of the same draft, if I'm not mistaken. Boye Mafe and Reek Woolen, if I'm not mistaken. But also a team getting stuff done. The Giants, they lost Dexter Lawrence. They go out and sign defensive tackle DJ Reader to a 2-year deal worth $12.5 million per year. So they go and get him. It's worth up to $15.5 million with incentives. So they get DJ Reader there. Basically, they get him on a discount, and hey, there you go. And they kind of cut the cap in half they were paying Dexter Lawrence a boatload of money. They go out and get DJ Reader to fill that role, and they pay him less.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt the Giants any.
No, I think that's pretty smart. And their defense looking strong. By the way, I don't know if anybody's noticed how good the Giants defense right now is looking, especially in that front seven after that draft.
Yeah.
My goodness.
I said the defense was really good the last 2 years, but the offense was not allowing them to shine the way that they should.
Yeah, their defense is terrifying right now, the way everything's looking. And we're going to be talking about them shortly because they did some work in the draft. Elsewhere around that conference, the Commanders, the division rather, the Commanders, they had a retirement. Former starting quarterback Taylor Heineke, he retires at age 33 years old. So Taylor Heineke out the door. If you recall, he made his way into the playoffs with the Commanders a few years back.
He made some waves, man.
Yep.
He made some pretty good. He was one of those gutsy, gritty guys that just always, you could count on him in a lot of situations because you knew he was going to play all the way to the whistle and all the way through the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And he was a former Minnesota Viking, got picked up late, third string guy, went to free agency, got picked up by the Commanders. Nobody saw him coming because, he wound up trotting onto the field. It was like just a random situation. Oh, shit, we're going to start our third stringer. He wound up being their starter for halves of a season, going into the playoffs, leading them to playoffs. It was like, wow, all right, Taylor Heineke, and
he had a strong little run, man.
Yeah, nice leadership qualities. I really liked what he brought to the table. Alex, I know you and I watched some of those Taylor Heineke games. We were talking during some of them were those wild card weekend games with Taylor Heineke in the playoffs.
Yep, clearly his most production was with Washington in 2021. He played 16 out of 17 games, and had 321 completions for 3,419 yards for a 6.9 average. Threw for 20 touchdowns, 15 picks, and was sacked 38 times. Which it's gonna happen if you work a full schedule. I will say that, but. He didn't do too bad. Had an 85.9 rating and a 45.8 QBR. But I mean, when you have a backup journeyman like this, he started in Houston, then had a stint in Carolina, went to the Falcons, and then finished off with the Chargers in 2024. So he never really like found his footing anywhere else. So good on you to hang him up. And I don't think we're going to see a bust of Canton, a bust of him and Canton anytime soon. But you know what? Hats off to you.
And for that magical year, that one magical year in Washington, though, where he got into the wild card round, it was like, who the hell is Taylor Heineke? And I'm like, I know who Taylor Heineke is.
Some people never start an NFL game, let alone a playoff game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Regardless, man. And now we've come.
There it is.
To the end of the road. Taylor Heineke had to let go. No more Super Bowls, no Pro Bowls, only ice cream bowls. Go to the bathroom. We know you can't have lactose.
Can't
use that spray in there, that damn spray in there. How much? I don't care. Oh, please wash your hands thoroughly with your nasty ass.
Please do.
Did you just pass gas running down the hall? Homeboy, check your drawers.
Check your drawers.
It was a little wet.
Taylor Heineke.
When it dries.
Congratulations, Taylor Heineke.
Yeah,
we salute you here at the Outside Blitz.
Yeah, hell of a career for Taylor Heineke. So moving forward, we got two more news stories here. The Browns have, as we speaking of walking down the hall, check your drawers. The Browns, they go out and place linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah. They go out and place him on injured reserve. He's on the PUP list. Neck injury. He's going to miss the full season for 2026. Missed all of last year.
Sucks.
Missing all of this year before the season even starts.
Yeah.
Misses 2 years in a row.
Man, you don't want to mess around with that neck. If I'm close to him, I'm saying, hey, listen, you don't want to mess around with your neck. You never know what that can lead to. Maybe it's time to get a song sung on the Outside Blitz.
Yeah, with some Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Protect your neck.
It's rough, man. Yeah. Don't mess around, especially when you're talking about, colliding into another, 270-pound man at, velocities unseen by the human eye.
Yeah. And he was a guy that, he made our rookie list a few years ago. Had himself a great rookie season. He was turning into one of the better players in the league, in the last 2 years have just been non-existent, literally just not in the league. I mean, it's just been brutal. So hopefully he gets better so that we do see him in 2027, or, sometimes we see this, guys get hurt and then there's, it's time, so it might be time. And then last but not least, some good news for the NFL fans. Something we won't have to deal with. And that is that the NFL and the NFL Referees Association have reached a 7-year collective bargaining agreement that will run through the 2032 NFL season. So we will not have replacement referees this year like we originally were worried about.
That's a relief.
Yeah, we had replacement refs.
But is it though?
I mean, kind of. I mean, these guys are at least better than the replacement refs. I don't think you could get worse than the replacement refs. Do you?
Man.
Yeah.
It will never be great until they put the referees on the payroll and continue to train them all year long on new rules and regulations and whatever you may need.
Yeah.
But if these guys are still being school teachers and, architects and whatever else they do in the off season, you're still going to have issues.
It's got to be year round. Got to be a year round thing. The current deal was scheduled to expire on May 31st, but they will be back permanently. So it's one of those things where the NFL Referees Association, they've got a 7-year collective bargaining agreement situated. So the replacement refs.
Yep. The NFL learned from history at this point.
Yep.
They saw what happened at that Green Bay Seattle game that, was so controversial at the end. They saw that and it went, you know what? I'm good, dog. Let's pay these guys.
Yeah. The replacement ref year was a complete and absolute disaster. So yeah, we're not gonna do that again. Let's just not. We're not gonna do that shit again. So I don't blame them. They did the right
87.
thing. Yeah. Oh God, another disaster of a year. But with that's our news around the league. Now we're gonna jump into our draft stuff. We've got the NFC to cover. We're gonna be jumping into that. I am super excited. We covered the AFC last week. We're going to be jumping to our NFC draft grades this week. We've got Arizona on the clock. Boots, I know you're going to love this one because they went and drafted Jeremiah Love. I like the player. I just don't like the landing spot for this. Where are you at on the Arizona Cardinals draft here?
Oh, well, Jeremiah Love, obviously the number one running back in the game this season. So, it's pretty evident that he was going to be, you knew he was going to be top 5. He was going to land somewhere.
Yeah.
This is just where it happened to be. They didn't put enough around him, I don't think, in the offensive line category to really accentuate what he can do. But he's so talented that I don't know if it will matter.
I'm surprised they didn't go quarterback early here. I'm surprised this wasn't Ty Simpson. I'm surprised that they didn't try to do something defensively. I'm surprised that they're edge rusher. There were so many edge rushers up there. I was surprised they didn't try to go Arvell Reese here, to kind of transform that defense. I was just surprised that they passed on a lot of the guys. I'm surprised there wasn't a Carnell Tate pick here. It was baffling that Jeremiah Love suddenly got on their radar. It was out of nowhere. I felt like Jeremiah Love was going to fall to Tennessee this whole time. I really felt like that was going to happen. I had Arvell Reese projected to go to Arizona basically the whole process. I was like, oh, it's got to be Arvell Reese. He's the fit. He's the guy that fixes that whole edge rushing situation. He's the guy that you plug in. And then it was like, oh, Jeremiah Love's, it was like 2 days before Jeremiah Love's, we're eyeballing him. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like didn't you just draft Trey Benson? Like,
yeah.
Didn't you just do that?
And that leads to the second point. You have a pretty solid running back room already. You got Trey Benson, you got James Conner, who's still hanging around. Plus, you just signed Tyler Algier from the Falcons. Yeah. So Tyler Algier, more, not for nothing, had just as much, of a workload as Bijan Robinson did. That was a 1A, 1B situation that clearly should have been an RB1 versus RB2. But, here we are. And now you have a quality starting running back in, Tyler Algier, and you draft a running back here. That's why we're so questionable about the spot
and
that he fell to.
The Tyler Algier's pissed about this pick. That's the thing. There are rumors. The rumor and innuendo is that Tyler Algier is not happy about this because he thought he was going to be the starting running back for the Arizona Cardinals this year, and he might want out. So I mean, it's like, God bless it. Like, what the hell is going on? They go Jeremiah Love though. The first round, Chase Basantis. They did the right thing. They went out and got an offensive lineman. Chase Basantis, good player out of Texas A&M. Interesting pick in the third round. They go Carson Beck in the third round. He's technically a steal in the third round. I mean, in this particular draft, technically, when he falls to you in the third round, you're like, all right, thanks.
Well, that just depends on how much they were going to be willing to negotiate with Jacoby Brissett. But fact is, we got a bootleg B-teamer.
Yeah,
honorable mention.
That's it. Carson Beck up. Yeah. They get Caleb Proctor, the defensive tackle out of southeastern Louisiana, which I was surprised that Proctor fell this far. You want to talk underrated? This guy, Reggie Virgil, baby. 5th round. We loved Reggie Virgil. Loved him.
He put on a show at the combine.
Yeah. When he fell to the 5th round, I was like, man, that was my favorite pick Arizona made this whole draft, was Reggie Virgil in the 5th round. If I had to give this draft a grade, I'll give it a B. I'm not mad at it. I didn't feel like the Love pick was necessary. It's a good pick. He's a talented guy. I just didn't think it was necessary. The rest of the picks, I mean, Beck, you got a steal on him. Chase Pasantis, he's a good offensive guard. You needed one. Proctor, underrated, like you said. Reggie Virgil, loved the pick. Give me a B on this. Boots, what do you think?
B minus.
B minus. Alex, where you at?
I'll go ahead and say B. They did the only thing, again, the only thing they could have done really that was better, draft Darvell Reese at edge. Because again, that's what you need. You need to build up your defense. And Arizona comically had one of the worst defenses in football last season.
Yep. Did nothing to fix it. They did nothing to correct that situation. No. Moving into Atlanta, we got Avion Terrell going into the 2nd round. They did not have a 1st round pick in this draft, which I thought Avion Terrell and the 16th pick of the 2nd round was a steal. I thought this guy was 1st round talent all day. Zachariah Branch going in the 3rd round was a solid pick in the 3rd round. I do like the Harold Perkins pick, but other than that, I mean, they didn't have a whole ton of picks here. I thought those 3 picks, though, were rock solid. Perkins was probably my favorite pick of theirs.
Wait a minute.
What's that?
Who told you about Harold Perkins?
You told me about Harold Perkins.
And Atlanta heard it.
Yeah, I had to go looking. After you told me, and I liked Harold Perkins after you told me about him. Had to go find him. But, man, once you told us, it was like, oh, there is something here with Harold Perkins.
Yeah.
Especially in the 6th round.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Excellent in the space. Excellent to get to the quarterback. Yeah, Atlanta did a pretty good job with what they had.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot.
No.
Yeah, because they had given up all their 1st rounders and all that jazz.
I've said I needed to see more from Zachariah Branch. Mm. So, we'll see how it shakes out. But according with what we see here, I'll give it a C+.
Yeah, that's where I was at. I was going exactly there, C+. I'm with you. Alex, what are you at?
C+. I mean, you did well with what you had, which is all that we could expect of a team that didn't have a 1st round pick and kind of like was in the middle of the pack all draft long. So,
yeah. Moving into the Carolina Panthers, you want to talk a team that had a really nice draft and found some really good value at certain stages here. Monroe Freeling, solid pick, offensive tackle. They needed an offensive tackle. They went and got one. They got one of the best ones in this draft. Super talented guy. They get Lee Hunter, the defensive tackle, in the 2nd round. If he can focus, he's going to be a star, is Lee Hunter. And the fact that he went the 17th pick in the 2nd round was huge. The Gazelle, as you call him, Boots, Chris Brazzell out of Tennessee. So they get a wide receiver. So they get another one to go with Jalen Coker and Teteroa McMillan.
Bootleg B team stand up.
Yes, sir. Will Lee out of Texas A&M. I liked that pick. They get Sam Hecht in the 5th round. So they get a starting level center, like a guy. He was ranked the 3rd best center in this draft class. And
cannonball sleeper.
Yep. And he winds up going 5th round. And it was awesome. And then Zakee Wheatley out of Penn State, another guy, really good numbers in college, really good player out of Penn State, the safety. I like that pick in the 5th round. These picks were damn near back to back. They were within 6 picks of each other. And I like the Wheatley pick too. I thought that was really solid. They had a really good draft. They found really good value here. This one to me is like one of the better drafts that we saw all weekend. They didn't cover their edge rusher. They needed an edge rusher. They do need a running back. I do think they're leaning a little too much into, I know they want to lean into Chuba Hubbard, and I know they want to lead into, what's his name, that with his torn ACLs, but I'm
talking about Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks.
Yeah, it's over.
It's over. I'm with you. It's over. But this draft here, based on the value they were able to get, give me a solid A- here. I thought this was a great draft for them.
Yeah, I thought it was an A.
Yeah. Alex, where you at?
I will give them an A as well. I think props to Carolina. They're taking steps to rebuild. I mean, I don't think they're quite ready to take out the NFC South. But then again, the NFC South has been one of the more questionable divisions in all of football. Yeah. So who knows? Wing and a prayer, you might be able to get there.
Yeah.
Hey, I said they win it last year, and they did.
They did. Hosted a playoff game.
Sure did.
They did. They
came within a gnat's eyelash of beating the Rams.
Yes, they did. That was actually one of the more fun games to watch in the playoffs.
It was.
Yeah, it was a good one. Next up, the Chicago Bears. They go out and get Dylan Tenneman in the first round, and I was so pissed that the Vikings let him fall to them.
Yeah.
They basically let Harrison Smith in the aggregate go to them.
Yeah. I completely agree.
It was infuriating. They go out and get Logan Jones out of Iowa. They needed a center. They get a center. I understand they picked up Garrett Bradbury from New England, but I don't think Garrett Bradbury is going to be long for this world with the Bears here, in my opinion. And I do think Logan Jones is going to be able to kick over to guard in the meantime. So I do think that they handled the interior offensive line spot. Sam Roush out of Stanford, the tight end. That's all right. I thought it was a bit of a reach in the third round. Xavier Thomas out of LSU. I really, really like that pick. That's a guy that had a really nice combine. Malik Muhammad out of Texas, fourth round for him. I thought he could have gone. Yeah, I thought he could have gone way earlier than that.
I thought he was going to be gone in the second.
Yeah, me too. And then Keyshawn Elliott and Jordan Vandenberg. They had themselves a pretty good draft. The fifth and sixth round, man, whatever. But 1 through 4. Not bad at all for Chicago. Really good. Give me a B+ for them. I like this draft.
Yeah, same.
Yep. Alex,
same here. Yep, B+. Again, it's not exactly the rich get richer situation, but a division rival did benefit from a bungled pick, as we will probably talk about in the near future here.
Oh God, I'm gonna be so mad. Next up, the Dallas Cowboys. You want to talk about a steal of a pick, man? Caleb Downs at 11. My goodness. My goodness.
That guy is going to be a stud.
Yep.
An absolute stud.
Dallas had themselves a really nice draft, by the way. I don't know if anybody realized that. They really rocked it in this thing. Caleb Downs in the first round. They get Malachi Lawrence at 23 out of UCF. They get Jayshon Barham out of Michigan, another great pick. So they double up the edge rushers. They were the worst pass rushing team in football last year, and double edge rushers right off the rip. And then they go out and get Devin Moore, the corner out of Florida, which I thought was a steal in the fourth round. Drew Shelton out of Penn State. They did need an offensive tackle. They do a really good job. Drew Shelton at this stage of the draft, I had him projected third round. He goes fourth round. So they get him a round later than a lot. And most people had him about mid third round. LT Overton out of Alabama. They get another edge rusher. So they just banging the edge rusher position here.
Yeah.
And then they go out and get Anthony Smith out of East Carolina, the wide receiver. Really good draft by Dallas. Covered what they needed to cover. They do need a linebacker, but they picked up one in free agency. I'm here for it. I'm 1,000% on board with what they did. They're obviously leading into Turd Ferguson as their tight end. They did have a need at the tight end position, but old Turd Ferguson's going to be their guy. Boots, where you at with the Cowboys?
I know I'm the leader of the B team, but this is an A draft.
Yeah. You like this one that much?
Yeah, absolutely. Because they addressed a lot of what they needed. They were also one of the worst against the pass.
Yeah.
They were dead last against the pass. They were first in passing yards and then dead last against the pass for a large stretch of the season. So with Caleb Downs, immediately gives you hope in the secondary.
You knew you were bad when you were getting cooked by J.J. McCarthy late in the season. That was ugly.
Yeah.
It was ugly. Alex, where you at?
I'm definitely going to give it an A. Detroit should take notes because, I mean, we'll be talking about them shortly too, but I mean, it was just I think they're next on the docket actually, but Detroit could have probably taken notes from this draft.
Yeah, Detroit, jumping into them, interesting situation for the Lions here. I'm going to call their defense now the Detroit Wolverines at this point, because that's what they are at this stage. Mm-hmm. First round, they go out and get Blake Miller, the offensive tackle out of Clemson.
Bootleg B team, stand up.
They needed an offensive tackle. They go do it. Smart. I'm not mad at that. Derek Moore out of Michigan, the edge rusher. They get a linebacker, Jimmy Rolder. They needed him. They lost Anzalone this year to Tampa, Alex Anzalone. So they get Jimmy Rolder in the 4th round. Not bad. I felt like I was a little surprised in the 2nd round by the pick of Derek Moore. There were quite a few edge rushers that I would have probably selected before Derek Moore, but it was like they wanted that Michigan connection. I feel like they were looking for that level of continuity. I forget who was on the board. It was a guy who went to
it was Zion Young.
Yeah, Zion Young was on the board at that time. I was a little surprised that Zion Young wasn't the guy they went after in this particular situation. He winds up falling to Baltimore. Then they have Derek Moore. So a little surprised by that. The Keith Abney pick out of Arizona State, not a bad choice here in the 5th. I was surprised Abney fell as far as he did. I thought that was a really good pick in the 5th round. Kendrick Law, Skylar Gill Howard, and then Tyre West. A little surprised by the last 3. There were just so many better players that they could have gotten the last 3 rounds. It was just an interesting draft. Did they fill the needs that they had? Yeah, but I felt like there were better players that they could have filled those needs with.
That depends on what you consider better for the situation. Yeah, what they want to do, there's obviously a plan. They're looking for guys who fit their system and fit what they want to do in the locker room as well as on the field.
Yeah.
They're not just going after the hype name. No. These are Dan Campbell guys. These are blue collar guys. These are guys that are going to come to work every single day, lunch pail, right, ready to work. Punch in, punch you in the face, and then punch out after 8 hours or more. That's the type of team that they're building, and those are the type of guys that they drafted. They hit every single level of the defense. Everybody was, edge rusher. Well, they got 2 of them. Now what you got to say, right? Oh, the secondary, they got somebody for the secondary. Now what you got to say? Well, you lost Anzalone. Well, they got a linebacker. Now what you got to say? They filled every single need on the docket for the defense. The Kendrick Law wide receiver pick, I'm a little on the fence on that. I mean, he's more or less going to be special teams, the Khalif Raymond replacement, but you're looking at a team. You're looking at a draft that's a solid B+ right there, because everything that they did, they addressed the needs with players that fit what they want to do in and out of the locker room.
And that's why I'm not absolutely burying that draft, because it's one of those things where and it was funny. They had there was a huge Twitter discussion about draft boards and consensus board versus and it was just a monster discussion. What is the consensus board from the media and the consensus board about who's getting drafted where and who's the better player, and the scouting boards, and then what the board is for your team and what your team believes is the guy that's going to fit what you're doing. And should you take the consensus board into account, whatever the case may be. It was an interesting discussion. To me, I think there's got to be a sprinkle of both, but I look at it and I go, okay, do I feel like there were better players on the board? Yes. Do I understand that for their team building and the way they're trying to build their team, that they picked the guys that they felt were best for them? Yes. So that's why I'm not completely burying it and being like, fuck them, there were better players on the board, give them a D. No, I'm not going to do anything like that. But I will say I'll probably give it about a B, because they did fill the needs that they needed. They did go out and they filled they did fill team needs, but they did it, and they did it with their guys as opposed to taking the possible best available guy. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, I feel like there were better players that may have done better quality work for them, but we'll see. We may be wrong. I might be wrong in that situation. So we'll have to kind of wait and see what kind of takes place with the guys they selected. Alex, where are you at on Detroit?
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say B, maybe B minus. Again, Zion Young was on the board and you could have picked him up. And I understand the argument. I understand the argument when it comes to we're looking for players who fit our locker room, who fit our scheme, who fit our team mission. The team mission is really only going to get you so far. You kind of have to bend the rules a little bit if you want to get to the Super Bowl, because the National Football League it's the most competitive league in the world. And, if you don't have, if you're going to have guys that are going to fight for you and run through a wall for it, that's great. But again, when we use the term Dan Campbell guys and, blue collar workers, yes, you do want somebody that works hard and has a good work ethic. They wouldn't have put up with somebody who has a lot of off the field BS. Looking at you, Jameson Williams. Granted, he's no Jordan Addison, but he's still got a little bit of a problem. But at the end of the day, if you're going to put blue collar workers on the line, and look, Blake Miller's comp was Taylor Decker. Right. The guy who's he's replacing. So good on them. But to me, yes, you do need people. You do need blue collar workers. You also need gamers. And when I mean gamers, I mean when it comes to nut cutting time, and it's 2 minutes to go, and you got to drive down the field to get that. Who do you want on your team? Who do you want? A guy that, like, hey, he shows up, he works hard, but better defenses can probably work around him, and you might get stuffed, or the opposing coach is just a little bit smarter and a little bit. You need an edge, not an edge rusher, but just an edge to put yourself over the top. Especially when you get to the championship game. When you get, even the division round, championship game, or the Super Bowl, you need to have that next level oomph push.
So, and to use a Boots term, do you feel as though Aiden Hutchinson is the guy, and they drafted Derek Moore to be the other guy?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is he the Brian Robeson in this whole thing to the Everson Griffin? Is he the you get what I'm saying? Is Aiden Hutchinson's the guy? So is Derek Moore's going to be the other guy? Yep. And is Jimmy Rolder is he comparable in a way? Now, here's one thing about Jimmy Rolder. I don't think that Jimmy Rolder was necessarily the guy that they wanted. I think the guy that they wanted was actually the guy that Minnesota took in the second round, and they just were like, oh shit, we expected him to come around. But otherwise, I think that you'd be talking linebacker in the second round. I don't think Moore would have been in the second round, to be honest with you, for Detroit. I think they would have probably just came off of Moore. I think it would have taken the linebacker in the second round. But
Rolder's a guy that can get you where you need to go. He's not going to be flashy. Right. You're not going to see a ton of splash plays, but he's going to be involved in plays in a way that you don't see.
Yeah, I think
they're going to affect more passes than he's going to intercept. That type of thing. He's going to make more tackles short of the line of scrimmage than you think he's going to make, because he does everything well. He doesn't do one thing in particularly impressive, but he does everything well, and he's going to affect more plays than he's going to make the play.
Right. That's fair. That's fair enough. I don't know. I think if it was me, if I was the Lions at this stage and Zion Young was on the board, I would take Zion. But if you were going to take, if you needed a linebacker, I think a better fit would have been the guy that the Vikings had actually taken. I would have taken Golday at that point than Rolder, than waiting for Rolder in the fourth. But maybe that's just me. But in any case, the Lions, we've given our grades there. Moving into the Green Bay Packers, let's talk about Brandon Cisse throwing to that side of the field.
Brandon, you bet not call me sissy. Bootleg B team, stand up.
Yeah, one of your guys, he shuts down the whole side of the field. He goes second round, pick 20 to the Packers. Great pick by the Packers. That's a steal in the second round.
6 feet, 190. Get out of here.
Yep.
He can match up with anybody.
Packers drafted really well. Chris McClellan out of Missouri. They get the defensive tackle. They get him in the third round, 13 pick of the third round.
Great motor. Gets after the quarterback. I like it.
Yep. Then they get the edge rusher, Danny Dennis Sutton out of Penn State. I had a third round comp on him. He is an edge rusher out of Penn State. He goes to them in the fourth.
He was very good at the combine and opened up some eyes.
Really good pick. And they get Jaeger Burton out of Kentucky, the center. You talked about him a little bit on the previous show. He was a B teamer, if I'm not mistaken, or was he?
He was not.
I thought he was a honorable mention, maybe. But Imani Jackson out of Alabama, this was a great pick in the 6th round.
And another guy, 6'1", 190 pounds. You're talking about now you got two corners that they can match up on the outside with those big boundary X receivers.
Long corners.
Yeah.
Long corners.
And look who they got to play against. Justin Jefferson, Jameson Williams, right? You're looking at who they have to defend against multiple times a year.
Yep, and then they get the kicker, Trey Smack, who we talked about earlier. They didn't handle a lot.
That's just too much smack talk.
Yeah, they didn't get a handle on a lot of their draft needs. Right, they got corners, they got edge rushers. They still have a needed offensive tackle. They still have a needed linebacker. They still have a needed guard. So there's some needs there. But looking at like a best player available type of situation, they did quite well. Give me a solid B for the Green Bay Packers. I like what they did.
It's a B+ for me.
Yep. I'm with it. Alex, where are you at?
Give me a B for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I'm pretty well on lockstep with you. Jumping into that's Houston. They're our AFC team here. Jumping into our next.
Oh, speaking of, in the 7th round, Houston selects Lewis Bond. Bootleg B team, stand up.
6th round out of Boston College, damn near the 7th round, 23rd pick of the 6th round.
I'm sorry, I meant the 6th round.
Yeah.
That's come on, man. See? I ain't got to say nothing.
There it is. Next up, let's talk about the LA Rams. Not a lot of picks here, but they did some work. They go out and get Ty Simpson, 1st round, 13th pick of the 1st round. Ty Simpson, the heir apparent to Matt Stafford. Boots, you're shaking your head. You didn't like the Ty Simpson pick?
Not at all.
Not at all, huh?
Not at all.
What do you believe? What do you think about it?
I think it was a mistake. I think there's a better class of quarterbacks coming out next season.
Yep.
And I think they jumped the gun on this. The Rams could have brought in another veteran, right? A guy like Tyrod Taylor, right? Or a guy like Jacoby Brissett.
They could have convinced Jimmy Garoppolo to come back.
Jacoby Brissett to back up Stafford, and I think they made a mistake here.
Yeah, I guess the rumors are, there were secret meetings between Ty Simpson and McVay and all kinds of stuff. Who knows what's true? But right. Then they go out in the second round. They get Max Clare, the tight end out of Ohio State.
How many tight ends do they need in LA?
They're always drafting a tight end in the draft. Keegan Trost is the the offensive tackle out of Missouri. He goes third round.
You can trust him.
Yep. C.J. Daniels, the wide receiver out of Miami. He goes in at the 6th round. And really, their last pick of this draft was a solid pick. Keenan.
Yeah, I'm surprised he lasted that long on the board all the way to the 7th round.
A few where it's like, how is this guy on the board? Tim Keenan in the 7th round, 16th pick of the 7th round.
Yeah, this is a guy that they really got a really good deal.
Yeah, I couldn't believe they let him slide that far. But yeah, I'm not overly mad at this draft. There wasn't a lot to work with. They only had 5 picks. But if just looking at it, I like and I don't like the Ty Simpson pick. I like it because you got your quarterback of the future. I don't like it because it was so damn early and you have a great quarterback class coming out next year.
I said they needed a tackle.
Yep.
That's what they needed, was a tackle in the 1st round. And there were plenty available.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. And they did lose their offensive tackle. I mean, they did get Keegan Trust. I mean, is he going to be your starter? Question of the day.
Nah. 1st round, bro.
Yeah.
They should have went 1st round with the tackle.
And there were some good ones in the 1st round.
Yeah, man. Nah. This is a C for me.
I'm going to go C+. I'm not entirely mad at it, but I'll go C+. Alex?
I'll do C. You know, it is meh. I mean, you know, they did okay with what they had.
Yeah. Yeah, they did all right with what they had. Next up, let's talk about my Minnesota Vikings.
Please do it. Ladies and gentlemen, please adjust your sets accordingly.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not as pissed as I was early on because I understand what they did. I understand why they did it. I understand how the Brian Flores defense works. I do. I get it. You blitz heavy to help your secondary. That's how Flores works. He has all these exotic blitzes, and that's what he's going to do. And that's how he's going to help his secondary. That's how he's going to help his corners. That's how he's going to help his safeties, cover, and whatever else. He's going to harass the quarterback. Cool. I understand. Here's my problem. You need corners. And there were great corners on the board in round 1. You needed safeties. You let Dylan Tenneman go right through your fingertips into a division rival's roster. The arguably one of the best safeties in this class.
Mm-hmm.
And then you picked up a guy that has a history. Not just like, it happened. No, he's got a history of foot injuries. The guy's 360 pounds, and he's got a history of foot injuries. He was projected to go between 40 and 60 on the draft boards, and you picked him up 18th overall. Wasn't even the best defensive tackle on the board at the time. Okay, McDonald was on the board. I mean, am I wrong?
No.
But you picked up Caleb Banks. Didn't address your safety position until almost the last pick of the 3rd round with Jacoby Thomas, who at that time, even though Jacoby Thomas had a good year in Miami this last year, wasn't the best safety on the board.
Nope.
I don't understand. I get it that you're trying to replenish the defensive tackles you lost because you lost 2 defensive tackles that were overpaid and didn't do the job last year in Hargrave and Allen. I get it. You're trying to save cap and you're trying to fix the Flores defense that was broken. Because even though the Flores defense did extremely well last year, those 2 guys were a broken part of that defense because they did not do their part. They didn't live up to the big contracts that were given to them by Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. They did not do their job, did Allen and Hargrave. They just didn't. They weren't good. Not worth the money that they were paid anyway. So you go out and get Caleb Banks and Dominique Orange. You needed corners. You needed safeties. You had plenty of opportunity to get corners and safeties. You balked on Avion Terrell. And you picked up a linebacker that you didn't even need. You didn't even need him at the time. I like Jake Golday, don't get me wrong, but you didn't even need him. And a lot of people are trying to draw comparisons of him to Andrew Van Ginkel. Look, he might be as good as Andrew Van Ginkel, but did you need him? You just signed Eric Wilson to a brand new contract. Andrew Van Ginkel still has 1 year left on his deal. There are going to be other linebackers that are going to be coming out next year in next year's draft. Why are you going and picking up Jake Golday? I don't understand. You needed corners.
Yeah.
You needed safeties. And you balked on it until the last pick of the third round. Thank God in the fifth round, you had the wherewithal and the logic to look around and go, hey, look, Charles Demings is available, which was the best pick that the Vikings made in this draft in the fifth round. What a pick. I almost cried tears of joy when Charles Demings was still on the board with the 23rd pick in the fifth round, because I love Charles Demings out of SFA. I loved his tape. Great player. I don't know how he's going to translate to the NFL, but we see it all the time when some guys come out of smaller schools and they just blow up. Charles Demings might be great.
Yeah.
But I don't understand. I loved the Damon Claiborne pick out of Wake Forest.
That's your guy.
I liked Claiborne. I liked him a lot. But the need for corners, for high-end corners, and the opportunity to get some of these high-end corners and the balking on some of these high-end corners was just baffling. It was just baffling to me. And the Vikings, okay, look, Kenny Moore's out there on free agency now. Make a move, please. Do something. Yeah. Please make a move, because we need one. But this draft, I get what it was. I get why you did what you did, but I'm not in love with it. I like the Max Bredesen pick. You could have probably got him a couple rounds later.
Bootleg B team, stand up.
Yeah,
Max out Max Bredesen.
He's going to be a fullback. He's listed as a tight end. He's going to be a fullback.
Well, of course. Goal line situations.
Yeah.
Very strong.
You lost.
Very strong in the goal line.
Yeah, he's the replacement for CJ Ham. That's what he's there for. Caleb Tiernan, I have a hard time believing that Caleb Tiernan is not the replacement, because Rob Brzezinski is still the cap guy. I have a hard time believing that Caleb Tiernan is not the incoming replacement for Brian O'Neill. I have a hard time believing that that's not what that pick was for.
Right.
I mean, am I the only one that thinks that?
No.
That's the replacement. That's them getting ready to move Brian O'Neill out the door, because Brian O'Neill has a bloated contract. And if you look at it, next year, Brian O'Neill's contract, you could get rid of him for next to nothing. Have almost no dead cap.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm looking at it like...
And the Vikings have had offensive line injury issues for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah. And Tiernan's really, really good. He's a good player. He was a good pick in the third round. So I wasn't mad at the Tiernan pick. It was particularly the first three picks that drove me insane.
I'm not mad. I like Dominique Earns, because what you don't get, let's say Caleb Banks doesn't work out, at least there's a Dominique Earns, right?
Yep.
I wouldn't have drafted Caleb Banks in the first round just because of the unknown. But if he had been there, in the third, sure.
If you wanted a defensive tackle that bad, why not Cade McDonald?
Yeah.
Out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
When he was just sitting there.
Big time run stuffer.
Yeah.
Just like Earns, a space eater. The fact that they didn't go corner in the first round or the first two rounds is very concerning.
Corner or safety, something.
Yeah.
Get a DB.
Yeah, secondary. Yeah.
It just, and Tinneman, was right there. He was right in your lap. I said, this should be Dylan Tinneman. And the fact that he wasn't the pick was just crazy to me.
Yeah.
Just insane.
I guess would Kwesi have made that pick? We don't know.
Yeah. To me, I feel like the first, and people were on Twitter trying to justify it. I can't. I just can't. These first three picks. I couldn't get behind it. I thought Tiernan was a good pick. Jacoby Thomas, okay pick. I'm not crazy about it. This draft to me was saved with the Bredesen, Demings, Claiborne, those 3 picks, along with the Caleb Tiernan pick. I thought those 4 selections were really good. Jacoby Thomas was okay. You really C+. It's a C+ draft for me. And that's being, in my opinion, I think that's even me being generous. I do think I will say, and you can, Damon Claiborne is the future at that position. If he winds up getting starts, you're going to see him take that position. He's not going to give it back. He reminds me so much of Dalvin Cook, the way he runs. He's going to take that, and he's not giving it back. I like Damon Claiborne that much.
I'll go with a B-. B-.
That good, huh?
Because of the late pickups and the fact that I really do like Dominique Earns. I go B-. They should have gone safety and corner early, but they didn't. But the later picks, I think they're going to be okay.
Do you think Demings is going to be as good as I think he is?
Oh no, he's a really good corner.
Yeah. Alex, where you at?
I'm going to say C+ because, again, you don't win Super Bowls with the late end picks. You have to have, and not just the draft either. We get this. There's a lot of things that go into a Super Bowl team, but you have to be firing on all cylinders throughout the entire draft process, before, during, and after. And the fact, again, how many years have the two of us, just the 2 of us, been on this show? 3 of us talking about how Minnesota's greatest need at defense is corner and safety.
I talk about it every year. Every year I'm talking about how we need corners.
Yeah.
This podcast has been on the air for 8 years, and I'm sure that you and Tyler Dean were talking about it. While you guys. Now, I know that was one of the first episodes I listened to was you need a shutdown corner. I heard that phrase multiple times.
Yep.
So, C+ for me, for the Minnesota Vikings. You know what? Let's see if they can make the final moves in free agency before the season starts.
Yeah, please go get Kenny Moore. Next up, New Orleans Saints. Jordan Tyson, their first round pick at 8 overall. A bit of a surprise to me that they went and got Jordan Tyson here. Their second round pick, Christian Miller, the defensive tackle out of Georgia. They get Oscar Delp out of Georgia as well. Oscar Delp was a guy that going into the going into the college football season was getting a lot of hype. Didn't have any hype coming out of the college football season and going into the draft process. We knew he was there, but ain't nobody talking about him for whatever reason. But he was productive in Georgia. So it was like, I'm surprised nobody was talking about him. There were little sprinkles here and there of people mentioning him. Mike Valeni mentioned Oscar Delp and how much he liked Oscar Delp. He goes 3rd round. Jeremiah Wright out of Auburn, the offensive guard, he goes in the 4th. Bryce Lance, there's a guy from the
bootleg B team,
yep.
The natural Bryce Lance.
Yep.
Bootleg B team, stand up.
Yep. The wide receiver out of North Dakota State. Great pick here in the 5th round. Lorenzo Styles Jr. out of Ohio State, the safety. He goes 5th round to the Saints. Billion Brown out of LSU, the wide receiver.
Burying bye Brown.
Yeah.
Bootleg B team, stand up. How the Saints got 2 bootleg B teamers?
That's great.
Come on, man.
Great.
And they gonna win the division.
And
talk to them.
7th round, TJ Hall out of Iowa, the corner. Not a bad draft for the Saints. They did a pretty good job on this. I thought it was solid. Give me a solid B+ here. I like the Lorenzo Styles pick, especially in the 5th round. 32nd pick of the 5th round for Lorenzo Styles. Yeah. Give me a solid B+ here.
Yeah, I'm going A just because of the Bryce Lance pick. I'm telling you, people don't know. You will find out very shortly, in due time, you will find out. I'm telling you.
Bryce Lance is for real.
Bryce Lance is for real.
Alex, where's you at?
I will go with a B+ as well. Yep, I'm very excited to see what Bryce Lance does. And Lorenzo Styles gets to join his fellow Ohio State teammate Chris Olave. Obviously, they're a few years apart, but it'll be an interesting reunion.
Yeah, I'm excited about how that New Orleans team is going to look, and I'm excited to see how Jordan Tyson and Chris Olave come together on the field. Olave coming off of a very productive, he was wide receiver 6 this year, so I want to see how those two come together. Next up, the New York Giants, they get Arvell Reese with the 5th pick in the first round, and they wound up with the 10th pick in the first round. They get Francis Mauigoa, the offensive tackle out of Miami. So they handle 2 big-time draft needs. They go out and get Arvell Reese, the linebacker, you want to talk chess piece. I keep using that term to describe him. He's a linebacker with edge rusher capabilities. That's basically what he is.
Yeah.
Arvell Reese, and then they go and get Mauigoa. They get Colton Hood, the corner. They go out and fill their corner need, and with one of the top corners in this draft. And then they go out, an interesting one, Malachi Fields, the wide receiver out of Notre Dame, struggled a little bit during the draft process, did not have a good combine, really struggled during the combine, did really well during the Senior Bowl, though. So kind of a hit or miss type of prospect. Yeah, very interesting one in the 3rd round for him to get picked up there. They get Bobby Jamison Travis, J.C. Davis, the offensive tackle out of Illinois, and then they get Jack Kelly out of BYU, the linebacker. The only thing they really didn't do is address their interior offensive line, but I mean, beyond that, I thought the Giants had themselves a pretty decent draft. Their late round picks a little meh, but rounds 1 through 3, not too shabby here by the Giants. Give me a B-.
Yeah, I'll go with the B+.
I'll meet you guys in the middle and go B. How about that?
I think I have a Reese pick here. I thought that was that Arvell Reese. Really, you got the best linebacker out of the class, right? And then you follow it up with the best offensive tackle out of the class. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that, right? That is to fill 2 draft needs. Next up, around that division, the Philadelphia Eagles. Interesting picks here. First, they get Mekhi Lemon, the top receiver out of the class, in my opinion. Mekhi Lemon, I liked Mekhi Lemon. I don't know how well he's going to fit here. He's not A.J. Brown, and they're talking about getting A.J. Brown out the door, going to the New England Patriots. I just don't know that he's going to fit the A.J. Brown role. I don't know that this is a fit. I don't know that this makes sense for Mekhi Lemon. I thought they would have gone and gone with a bigger guy like an Omar Cooper Jr. or something. I thought that would have made sense. Omar Cooper wound up sliding to the Jets. Very surprised that Cooper wasn't the pick here, to be honest, for them. They get Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt. I thought that was an excellent pick in the 2nd round, 22nd pick in the 2nd round. They get Markel Bell. That was the replacement.
And that was a replacement for who?
That was the replacement for oh goodness. Why is his name escaping me?
Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson, thank you. Lane Johnson is about to be done pretty soon here. Yeah. He's getting up there.
And I'm adopting Markel Bell to the Bootleg Bettor.
Yeah, Markel Bell, very good.
You damn right.
Yeah, very good player. They get Cole Payton out of North Dakota State, the quarterback, who had himself a really nice little combine and a really nice little Senior Bowl.
Yeah,
didn't like the Senior Bowl for him.
The Senior Bowl was okay. His season was good. The combine was
not a fan.
No, I didn't like his combine at all. But he's a good player though.
Yep. They get Cole Wisniewski out of Texas Tech. Uar Bernard, which was interesting. The defensive tackle out of Nigeria hasn't played any football, but he's huge. I mean, he's a massive man. And then their best pick of the day, Keyshawn James Newby out of New Mexico. I loved this kid. at the Senior Bowl. I love
best pick of the day.
That was that was their best pick of the day. Like strictly from a value standpoint, 7th round, Keyshawn James Newby out of New Mexico. Bro, this kid is awesome. I loved him. Lived in the backfield in the Senior Bowl. Played great. Did really well at the combine. I like Keyshawn James Newby a lot. Excellent player. Excellent player. If you're talking like strictly just based on the value, that was their best pick of the whole thing. Now, obviously, I'm not entirely sold on the first round pick for Lemon. I'm not sold that that's a fit. I like the Eli Stowers pick. I like the Markel Bell pick, but those are first, second, third round. But if you're talking value to get a player like Keyshawn James Newby in the 7th round, dude, I'm here for it. I love that pick. Give me a B here for the Eagles. Boots, where are you at?
Sure, we'll go with the B.
Alex?
I'm going to go B- because they picked up Mekhi Lemon while he was on the phone with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That little story is going to hang around for quite a bit.
Yeah. Next up, let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. You want to talk a team that traded around a lot. They didn't have a lot of draft picks going into this thing. They wound up with a lot of draft picks coming out of it. First thing they do, they get Jadarian Price, the very last pick of the first round. I had him projected going at that very pick to the Seattle Seahawks, and that's where he went.
Alex did.
I also had him going there in my mock draft.
Oh,
yeah.
And the official outside blitz mock draft.
Alex had Jadarian Price going
dead on.
Yeah,
and I got freaking D'Angelo Ponza dead on to the Jets.
Yes,
I mean, it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of know what we're talking about around here.
I like to think we do.
I have Fernando Mendoza too.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm saying?
But everybody did.
It still counts.
Everybody did.
It still counts, doggone it.
We had Bud Clark. We love some Bud Clark.
Bootleg B team, stand up.
Yep, 32nd pick in the 2nd round going to the Seahawks. Oh, man, just solid selection there.
Yeah.
Ball hawking safety. Julian Neal, the corner. They needed a corner. They go out and get a corner. They get Julian Neal. Bo Stevens out of Iowa, the offensive guard. I actually like that pick a lot too. I like Bo Stevens. I like those Iowa offensive linemen a lot, and they needed one, so they go out and get themselves an offensive lineman. Emmanuel Henderson out of Kansas, the wide receiver. They get the
underrated.
Yes. Andre Fuller, the corner out of Toledo. Hey, more DBs out of Toledo getting drafted, by the way. Devin Eastern out of Minnesota. Boots, you brought Devin Eastern up on a couple of occasions.
I did not.
I thought you did.
I did not.
I thought you did. I thought it was you. Maybe it was somebody else. But Devin Eastern out of Minnesota, the defensive tackle. They mentioned him on the broadcast a few times. I know that.
And I know that we saw him at the combine. He was very impressive at the combine.
He was.
That's the whole Eastern Seaboard. Look at it.
Yes, he's massive, 6'5", 315. That's a big boy. But 7th round, pick 26 in the 7th round. That's a huge man, and that is an awesome pick in the 7th round. And then they get Michael Dansby out of Arizona, the corner, in the 7th round as well. Eastern falling this far was crazy. And he wasn't on my radar until late in the process. And a lot of people started talking about him. I thought, Boots, I could have sworn you mentioned him, but nope, I thought you did. But anyway, Devin Eastern.
Because I wasn't doing defense, remember? Then late in the year, and when we started getting to the draft process, I'm like, I got to get me a little bit of defense. But no, not Devin Eastern.
Maybe I'm mistaken. But anyway, Devin Eastern, he kind of got on my radar late in the process, and they started talking about him during the draft itself, and talking about how he could be a guy that they felt had 3rd round potential, 2nd round potential. For him to fall all the way to the 7th round, man, very surprising, but I think that's a hell of a pick in the 7th round with the 26th pick in the 7th round. Crazy. Bud Clark went a little earlier than I thought, but I'm not mad at it with the 32nd pick. Boots, you had him going even earlier than that. So, you had him going like,
look at what he can do.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's phenomenal. So, I mean, to me, this draft itself, go ahead and give me a solid B+ here. I'm not mad at the Seattle Seahawks draft. I think they did a good job here. And you know what? They didn't fill that edge need, but then they went and signed. They made a big signing there. So, not mad at it. Give me a B+.
I'm going to go C+.
C+, really?
Yeah.
Didn't like it.
Yeah, it wasn't, I mean, it hit some of the notes, but it was a little off here and there.
Wow. Alex, where you at?
Let's go ahead and I'll meet you in the middle and give you a B again. Yep. But, yes, I mean, you got Bud Clark is pretty much your best pick. Not named Jadarian Price. I was very impressed with Jadarian Price at the combine. That duo at Notre Dame was very dynamic, and I don't think Jadarian Price is going to be the heir apparent to Kenny Walker. But Zach Charbonnet, may not be cutting the mustard here, so you might see him get some starts.
I think Jadarian Price is going to take that job. I really do. I think Zach Charbonnet on a 1-year deal coming off the ACL. I think they're going to send Zach Charbonnet packing. You're going to see it's going to be the Jadarian Price show here. Next up,
I'll grab the popcorn.
Yeah. Next up, let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers. Interesting pick here. First pick of the second round is on Stribling out of Ole Miss. A lot of people were mad about this pick. A lot of people were mad about a lot of the picks that the Niners made in this draft. I actually liked a lot. I wasn't. I liked a lot of the picks that they made. First of all, Stribling, I'm not mad at it. They needed a big downfield receiver, a big-bodied guy. They got it. These are the picks that I really liked. Romello Height in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Great pick. You get Kalen Black.
No. You get Kalen Buzzsaw Black. Bootleg B team, stand up.
Out of Indiana, man. And, a lot of people were pissed about that pick. And I'm like, why? Like people thought he could have.
McCaffrey is not long for this world.
Yeah, it's like, man. And then people were like Grayson Halton out of Oklahoma. They traded, around to get the Romello Height, Grayson Halton, and the Kalen Black picks. They traded around to make all those happen, and they made them happen. And then they go out and get Carver Willis out of Washington. They get an offensive tackle out of there too. I mean, I thought they handled this draft brilliantly. They get Ephesians Prysock.
Ephesians Prysock. Yep. If his first or last name started with a different letter, he would have been on the squad.
Yeah.
Ephesians Prysock is one of my favorite defenders. One of my favorite corners in this draft.
A show at the combine. Put on a show. He was a guy that we loved at the combine. Alex was like, "What is this Prysock kid?" Alex pointed him out to me, and I said, "Let me watch him a little closer." And man, he was having a great time. Jaden Duggar out of Louisiana, the linebacker, and then they get Enrique Cruz Jr. out of Kansas, the offensive tackle, in the 5th. I like the Niners draft. A- for the Niners, in my opinion. Boots, where you at?
I'm at a B because I'm not completely sold on Dejon Stribling. I like his game overall, but where they picked him and who was still available, I'm not sure he fit the mold for. Yeah, just my opinion.
You don't think he's gonna fit that Ayuk role?
I mean, sure, that's why they drafted him.
Yeah,
but there's going to be a lot that he's gonna have to be tasked with in this offense, and we'll see how it goes. But I think he was they would have been better served with a different receiver.
Sure. Alex, where you at with the Niners?
I'm gonna go B+. Again, this was a very deep wide receiver class.
I love the Romello Height pick. Sorry, Alex. I love that Romello Height pick though.
Me too. That is a tremendous pick. The strong striving pick. I mean, obviously, you have a deep wide receiver class, so yes, there were better receivers on the board for sure. But at the end of the day, you got what you needed, and we've always said that San Francisco was one of the more savvy organizations in football.
Right. Yeah, they could have gotten a better receiver down the stretch, maybe, or a guy that that could have done the same type of thing. And we're going to talk about one of them, I think, in a second here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs, you want to talk a team that hit every single thing that they needed to hit. Reuben Bain Jr., man, you want to talk for him to fall all the way to 15 is just insanity to me. It's just insane. I couldn't believe he fell all the way to 15. I couldn't believe he fell out of the top 10. It was just nuts. They get a steal. He was arguably one of, if not the best rusher out of the draft. They go out and get him. Josiah Trotter out of Missouri, the linebacker. He is the replacement to Levante David. So they go out and get him.
The brother of Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Yep.
Son of Jeremiah Trotter.
Yes. And
Legacy.
then they go out and get Ted Hurst. You want to talk a receiver that the Niners could have possibly gotten later in this draft? Ted Hurst. I mean, you wanted a guy that could do the things that they want Stribling to do. Ted Hurst would have been that guy. Another great pick here, Keontae Scott out of Miami, the corner. I really like that pick. I thought that was a steal at this point in the draft in the 4th round, 16th pick of the 4th round. Man, good pick. DeMonte Capehart out of Clemson, the defensive tackle. We liked Capehart at the combine. I thought in the 5th round, 15th pick of the 5th round, that's a great pick.
Yeah.
You get an offensive guard. We talked about Billy Schrauth out of Notre Dame, the offensive guard, 5th round, 20th pick of the 5th round. That's a good pick. So, and then you get Bauer Sharp out of LSU.
Bauer, razor sharp, bootleg, B team, stand up.
Yep, they get the tight end out of LSU.
Excellent receiver.
Yep, Bauer Sharp. So they do all of the things, right? They fill all the needs, and they do it with great players, and they find great value. This is an A all day. This is one of the best drafts out of anybody. I thought Tampa really did a great job. This is an A to me.
I'm going to go A-. But yeah, it was a really good draft.
Alex, where you at?
I'll say A- as well. And the comment that I'd like to make, you saw how Reuben Bain Jr., stopped at the Tampa Bay logo, kind of patted it on, saying, okay, we're here to work. He just grabs the hat, doesn't stand in front of the mirror. He is 100% business walking out to that dais because he knows he got passed up and he didn't deserve to get passed up. And he's like, okay, Tampa, let's go to work. I'm packing a lunch. Let's get this done. Let's show all these other teams that they made a mistake passing on me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. He looked pissed that he fell that far. And last but not least, we're going to talk about the Washington Commanders. They get Sonny Styles with the 7th pick of the 1st round. Sonny Styles, I was surprised that he went this high. But at the same time, I feel like this is the replacement for Bobby Wagner going out the door. So they get their replacement for him. Antonio Williams, the wide receiver out of Clemson, they get him in the 3rd round. They did not have a 2nd round pick. They get Josh Josephs out of Tennessee, the edge rusher, which this is actually a really solid pick in the 5th round. Joshua Josephs was projected much higher. And then they also get a workhorse running back out of Penn State, who I like a lot, Katron Allen. You want to talk a guy that's going to be a workhorse. He has a real opportunity to steal that job from Bill Krosky over there.
One of my favorite. His name. But Katron Allen, very good pick there.
Yeah. In the 5th round or 6th round, 6th pick in the 6th round. I mean, that's wild. They get Matt Golbin out of Michigan State, the center. And then they follow it up with Ethan Kaliamakis. I'm going to brutalize this one. Kaliakamakis. Kaliakmanis? I don't know. Kaliakmanis. But Rutgers, the quarterback out of Rutgers. I struggle with that name.
Right.
But it was an okay draft for the Commanders. Not super crazy about it. Needed some secondary here.
Yeah.
Needed secondary help, and they failed to address that just at all.
They needed more defense and more offensive line.
Yeah. Failed to address that. Went with all the sort of, for lack of better terms, sexy positions. C+.
Sonny Styles was a fantastic pick here. You couldn't pass him up. I don't think it was too early at all, because the type of player that he is can transform your defense and help it along the way. But I think they followed it up with a poor pick in Antonio Williams. I like the player, but not the position at the time that they needed.
Sure.
I think they should have stuck with defense a little bit longer in this draft. But
imagine if they had gotten Keontae Scott right there,
man.
That would have been a hell of a selection.
Yeah, because you're looking over at who you're going to be playing against, and this draft sums up to me that although I love Jaden Daniels coming off of major injuries and the defense still trying to get it together, this looks like a 4th place finish to me.
Oof,
and it's a C.
You think it's a 4th place finish for the Commanders?
It's a 4th place finish for the Commanders.
Wow. And Alex, where are you at on the Commanders?
I'm going to give it a C- because, again, you need to invest in the offensive line to protect Jaden Daniels, and you didn't really get all of the defensive pieces you needed. So, I kind of agree with Boots here. I mean, I'm not sold. I think it's going to probably be once again between Dallas and Philly. New York Giants will probably hang around in the NFC East, but it's Philly versus Dallas all day long.
100% in agreement.
Yeah,
1,000%. It's Philly or it's Dallas.
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm with you. And with that, folks, that's our show. Just before we get out of here, I want to give a shout out to It's Your Time Massage. Amanda's a wonderful massage therapist. She does excellent work. If you're looking for a massage, you got to check out iytmassage.com, or you can find her at It's Your Time Massage LLC on Facebook. She does amazing work. You're looking for a massage, Swedish or deep tissue, you can get yourself a massage over there at iytmassage.com. She's the best massage therapist in the Metro Detroit area. Or you can check her out at It's Your Time Massage LLC on Facebook and get yourself a massage. You can get yourself muscle scraping. You can get yourself some red light therapy. You can get yourself a little CBD oil for a little bit extra. Check it out, iytmassage.com. And remember, folks, it's your time.
She used to be a DJ.
Did she?
The records kept melting.
Unbelievable. Next up, let's talk about books, Boots.
Oh, those things that I don't read, but those things that you should read every single day to get yourself in a better situation mentally. Your intelligence will thank you along the way. But this book I'm talking about here, it's got to do with intelligence. It's got to do with heart. It's got to do with love. It's got to do with faith. It's got to do with a whole lot of things that we talk about and we live through. We talking about I ate cookies out of the trash. This book, it deals with depression, anxiety, weight loss issues, all of these things that we know that we go through. You ain't fooling me. I'm not fooling you. We all have these things that kind of hang around and linger around in the back of our minds when the doors are closed and it's a little bit dark and it's a little bit cold. We know that we deal with these things and these issues, but these issues are tackled and taken care of in this book. It is a personal view. It is a view that you can only get from a woman who has a degree in science. Science.
Yeah. And it's like, I couldn't have put it better myself.
BarnesandNoble.com. We talking AppleBooks.com. We talking Amazon.com. We want to ask Jeeves every single time. He hadn't been responding lately, though.
You're the only man that still asks Jeeves.
I asked Jeeves about everything. One time I asked how long, you know what? Here's the thing. You go online, you buy the book, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Google, just Google the doggone book, I Ate Cookies Out of the Trash. You can buy it online. It'll get shipped right to your house. You open up the door. There's the book. You grab it. You close the door. You rip it open. You sniff it. Brand new pages. And then you pour yourself a nice hot cup of coffee, some tea, some hot cocoa, a little Bailey's in it if you want to, and enjoy yourself. Kick your feet up, read the book, and let it change your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I Ate Cookies Out of the Trash. Excellent book. Reads like a conversation.
That's right. Not a boring one, though.
Yeah, it's a great book. I love that book. Awesome read. Also, Alex, what do you have going on over there at Steel Twins Gaming?
Well, I got a couple of questions to ask you.
Yeah.
Do you like video games? Do you like theater?
I do.
The Steel Twins gaming may be just what you're looking for. Whether it's the good old first-person shooter, RPG, or your favorite story-based adventures, we think we have something for just about everyone. We've got everything you need to satisfy your digital cravings, whatever they may be. And best of all, our channel has something nobody else has: voice acting. Every week, my brother and I will play a game that has a lot of text-based dialogue, and we will act it out with the voices that come up in our heads for the characters you see on screen. Sometimes we do our best to highlight the drama of the situation, and other times we just goof off to have a good time. Either way, we're sure you'll be entertained. We're on every Sunday night. We're on every Saturday afternoon at about 2:30 p.m. Follow us on Twitter at SteelTwinsAlex to keep up to date on our shenanigans. And hey, don't forget the brother channel, Steel Twins Andy. I just rated them on Twitch. There, you'll get your full fix of Nostalgic Mondays, Nintendo Tuesdays, FPS Wednesdays with Borderlands 2, special guest, yours truly, Indie Thursdays, and Open World Fridays, which my brother right at this very moment is streaming Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Oh, that's a great game. And last but not least, let's talk about the artist formerly known as Big Willie Dubs Gaming, now known as No Shot Bot TTV. Will is an awesome streamer. He does awesome work over there. He does a lot of first-person shooter stuff, but he also does a lot of other entertaining stuff, like threatening to shave off his beard to harass his wife on a live thing, or eating nasty jelly beans, or doing the Hot Ones challenge. If you want to check him out, he's a very entertaining guy. Check out No Shot Bot TTV. You can find him on Twitch. You can find him on Facebook. You can find him on Twitch. You can find him on Kick. You can find him on YouTube. You can find him on the TikTok.
The TikTok.
There you go. There's my old man moment for the day. You're running a little behind there, Boots. You all right?
You can find him on the classified.
The classifieds. Geez, so is he in the yellow pages too?
Damn right.
You can find him on Craigslist.
Yeah, that's it. But
he found a lot on Craigslist. I don't want to share those stories.
Oh Jesus! But you can find No Shot Bot TTV though. You check him out; it's a great time. His channel is phenomenal. So have a look at No Shot Bot TTV. But folks, that's our show. Our draft grades are in the books. We've got the NFL schedule release just around the corner. It's been announced for May 14th, March 14th. We're about 2 months behind there, but May 14th. So next week we're going to be getting the NFL schedule release. So we're going to be jumping into that. We got the news around the league, and then we're going to be jumping into our early season predictors. We're going to be jumping in. Each of us will be doing our season predictors so that we can predict basically our Super Bowl winners for the upcoming 2026-2027 season based on the schedule. We go through every single game, and then we'll basically fill you in on where we think each team is going to end up in their division, and we're going to fill you in on where we think each team is going to end up as far as the playoffs go. Who's going to make the playoffs? Who's going to make it to the AFC and NFC championship game? Who's going to make it to the Super Bowl? Our predictions for that. We're also going to be jumping into down the stretch here, a few of our episodes down the line. We're going to be going into our bold predictions for the upcoming season. So get ready for those. And our segment we like to call I Believe. So we're going to be jumping into that. So I hope everybody's excited. We got some good content coming up over the next couple of weeks. The NFL season release is next week. Like I said, May 14th, I believe they said. So get ready for that. And folks, with that, thank you so much for listening. We've been getting a lot of added listenership lately, a lot of people joining us, a lot of people tuning in, and we have been enjoying you guys listening in and joining us. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Are they listening to us?
They've been listening, and they've been watching, and
I got to watch what I say.
Yeah, everybody's been listening and watching, but thank you so much for listening. And with that, folks, we'll see you next time right here on the Outside Blitz.
I bet you listen again.
And with that, Ow, we're gone.